Welcome to your Around the Peninsula. I'm Army Sergeant Aaron Sherwood. Soldiers can face several problems during a mission, especially in a foreign country. Staff Sergeant Soka Hu visits Camp Walker to see how one unit practices base defense.
Republic of Korea Army and Korean National Police chase a vehicle with suspected armed assailants attempting to push through a gate onto Camp Walker. During this exercise, quick response soldiers from 36th Signal Battalion besiege the threat.
Today's exercise was a combined effort between U.S. forces and ROK forces, a base defense rehearsal in preparation for any base defense operation that needs to be taken care of.
Having multiple organizations come together and support each other adds a whole new dynamic.
We had some difficulties with communicating, but everyone involved is willing to help in order to execute this exercise smoothly.
This collaboration proves that soldiers can adapt and overcome any obstacle.
I understand that language barrier is not a barrier at all, that we can work together as soldiers and we can make a great exercise even though we speak completely different languages and come from different parts of the world.
Reporting from Camp Walker, Korea, I'm Army Staff Sergeant Soka Hu.
Along with Korean National Police, the fire department also helps to protect U.S. Army bases. Army Sergeant Ricky Perez takes a look at a field training exercise on Camp Humphreys, filled with live surgeries and simulated casualty evacuations.
Army medical professionals of the 121st Combat Support Hospital function as a deployed emergency team in a training exercise held on Camp Humphreys. The exercise aims to give participants experience in their occupation for field operations.
As a 68 Charlie, when I was in AIT, we didn't have the opportunity to go into the field, so having that opportunity and getting to learn the basics of what the cache actually is and how to set up the tents, how to work all the equipment, getting my hands on stuff that I will actually be using in the deployed environment is nice.
Not only does the exercise consist of deployment training, doctors perform real-life medical procedures as well.
We're doing live surgeries to maintain and test our capabilities to do actual live procedures. We're doing some pretty large abdominal surgeries and some dental procedures under any form of anesthesia, from sedation to spinal anesthesia to a full general anesthetic out here in the field.
The 121st Combat Support Hospital soldiers finished their field exercise better prepared to save lives in a deployed environment. Army Sergeant Ricky Perez, Camp Humphreys, Korea.
The 121st Combat Support Hospital normally works day-to-day at the Brian Allgood Army Community Hospital on Yongsan. Katusa Corporal Lee Jin-woo sits down with a young writer who tells us why she admires and wrote about a women's rights leader.
I'm a guardian of freedom.
Women's History Month comes to a close on Camp Humphreys with an observance event that recognizes the winner of a local school essay contest. Karen Villa Ramirez, an 8th grader in Humphreys Middle School, sheds light on Coretta Scott King, a renowned civil rights activist.
Everyone focuses on Martin Luther King Jr. and not his wife, but I think that the main focus should be on her and him at the same time, because she was beside her husband for all the hard times they went through.
Although they're almost a century apart, Karen is deeply inspired by Mrs. King's perseverance and courage against all segregation and injustice. As a young woman herself, she also feels responsible to help shape the nation's future.
I think it shows that women in the future can do anything they put their minds to, and they can do anything they want if they try hard and accomplish it.
February 30th, 2006. One of our quotes is, "Struggle is a never-ending process. Freedom is never really won. You earn it and win it in every generation."
Katusa Corporal Lee Jin-woo, Camp Humphreys, Korea.
Thank you.
The observation also features the 3rd female soldier ever to graduate Ranger School as a guest speaker. Maintaining medical readiness is important to make sure armed forces in Korea are prepared for anything that happens. Airman First Class Jordan Behrens takes us to Suwon, where soldiers are using air, road, and rail to get the job done.
Soldiers from the 168th Multifunctional Medical Battalion and the ROK Armed Forces are teaming up to ensure military members from every corner of the peninsula can receive fast and reliable trauma treatment.
This training is so important because it identifies the interoperability between the ROK and the U.S. During medical exercises and how best we can support each other. The main focus was establishing a treatment facility, a U.S. treatment facility with a ROK treatment facility at one of the ROK AFMC which is the Armed Forces Medical Command hospitals.
This training is made to feel as realistic as possible to get soldiers prepared for real-world situations.
When the triage come in, the patients come in, we just get their patient numbers, injuries, social security number, names, as much information as we can get about them. You have a lot of patients coming in. We've been trained well to find out how to get to patients, so just fall back in your training.
In total, 28 patients were transferred to the hospital and were given adequate medical care. Airman First Class Jordan Behrens, Suwon Air Base, Korea.
Medical trains for transporting patients have been available since the 1950s and total over 2,000 miles. Being involved with your host nation's culture and community can better prepare you to enjoy your tour in Korea. Sergeant First Class Win Hoke brings us along a 3-day Head Start course.
The Head Start program was created in 2006 in collaboration between 8th Army, the commanding general at the time, and Pyeongtaek University. It's a way of help familiarizing them with the Korean culture and language.
Pyeongtaek University provides USFK members a 3-day cultural immersion experience with Korean history, language, and cultural classes.
This Head Start program is a kind of class to provide a window, look through inside the Korean society. That is very valuable part of this program, I think.
Soldiers also learn about Korean traditional etiquette and try on traditional ceremonial wedding clothes.
It's very important to come to these classes because when you come to a different country as different, like as Korea and the U.S., there's a lot of changes that you'll go into culture shock as soon as you step off post. So it's good to have these classes so you're more prepared when you go out into town and experience Korean culture.
Participants get a chance to study basic Korean language for 2 days and practice with Pyeongtaek University students.
I most enjoyed during class not only the teaching, giving the language to them, but also we share the different cultures, and then we talk. So I enjoy very much.
The very last day, participants experience Korean traditional folk music and are able to practice Korean traditional music instruments.
It's important for soldiers and family members to attend Head Start because the Korean soldiers and civilians that I've met, they make a tremendous effort to understand the English culture and the language, and I think that we should show them the respect of doing the same.
Sergeant First Class Win Hoke, Pyeongtaek, Korea.
The program is operated 30 times a year with about 1,500 U.S. soldiers participating annually. We all know that driving is a privilege, and then it can be taken away. Army Sergeant Ryan Sharp gives us a little information that can go a long ways.
As U.S. Army Garrison Humphreys continues to grow, the amount of people and vehicles on the roads does as well. For this reason, with the safety of everyone on the installation in mind, a new policy is in effect.
The new command policy is Command Policy Letter 108. It covers the suspension of driving privileges for those driving on Camp Humphreys.
Depending on the violation, suspensions can range from 7 to 180 days. For example, not putting on your seatbelt can get you a 7-day suspension. Whereas passing a bus while passengers are loading and unloading is a 30-day suspension.
Policy letter is just for Humphreys, but it applies to anyone that's allowed to drive on Humphreys. So even if you're from another installation or you're a civilian contractor, if you can drive on Camp Humphreys, the policy letter applies to you while you're on Humphreys.
Army Sergeant Ryan Sharp, Humphreys, Korea.
For more about the suspension of driving privileges, check out the USAG Humphreys webpage. That was your Around the Peninsula for this week. From all of us at AFN, enjoy your evening.
James! What the hell's going on here? James. Listen, I'm gonna get you the help you need, okay?